Got defensive back Kari Foster and quarterback Trey Cuca. We'll open it up for questions.
Trey, this program is now bowl eligible for the first time since 2019. I guess what type of effort do you feel like it took you guys to overcome the 21-point deficit?
I mean, you win these games in February, March, April, in the spring and the summer. These guys put in so much work, and I'm just glad it paid off with the win tonight and, gaining that bowl eligibility. That's what all these guys wanted. We did it for the 16 seniors tonight on senior day, and that was a huge moment for them. And like I said, we just worked all year, and this is just the fruits of our labor.
All right, 2 picks for you, 4 overall by this defense. I mean, just what were you seeing that you were able to pick that off, especially that OT that really saved the game?
It was just, I don't know, like, they felt like they was tricking us in a way, starting off. And we got so used, because we haven't been against a triple option or speed option team all year. And it felt like they had some tricky stuff that they ran with their offense. And, we talked through it throughout the whole game, and it was just like, second half, understand the formations, see where the guys are, see where they, coming from. Read your keys, stay in the, just play your role. And then, the ball will come to you, so.
Take me through that celebration, though, that you had after that interception in OT. What were you doing there?
I was just, giving it to the world, just letting them know, yeah.
Terry, how did it feel you took JUCO product? You've been with Andrew. How did it feel being part of the catalyst and coming in?
I mean, Andrew played his ass off tonight. Excuse my language. He was a monster, and that final play to finish a game is obviously that's a huge one. But the one where he on third down from the 3-yard line, we were trying to dial up a play. We were trying to figure something out, and man, somebody said it. One of the coaches said it. And everyone agreed, put the ball in Andrew's hands, right? We just wanted to run it down their throat, and we knew that we had to get it in Zero's hands. He lowered his shoulder on a linebacker, carried him into the end zone, and that was, one of the key touchdowns to kind of lead the comeback. I mean, that's a guy that, he's worked so hard all year, and just for him to have this kind of night, I'm so happy for him, and I'm super proud of him, especially as a senior. Again, just a big night for him. Super proud.
Offense, when it's had success, you guys have really gotten that run game going. I guess what was the message, going into this game? I think you finished 50 carries as a team. I guess just what was the mentality of getting that run game established?
Yeah, like you said, it's a mentality. This whole week we're, emphasizing the run game. The offensive line, the coaches wanted to, put it in their heads that we're going to run the ball until they prove that they can stop it. And we know that that's a strength of our team. And the mentality of this offensive line, when they get going, in the run game, and they, they're getting downfield and they're running through guys. Our running backs, we have one of the best running back rooms in college football, and we have a lot of guys, a lot of depth. So that's definitely a strength of this team. And all week we were just like, we're going to run it down their throats, and they're not going to stop it. We knew that they were a good run defense team, but we're a better run team. So that's what we did. A lot of carries, a lot of yards on the ground, and Andrew was a huge catalyst of that.
Trey, you guys scored 27 unanswered points to win here tonight. What kind of was the moment where you guys kind of felt that flip switch and everything was going on?
Yeah, we were just a few plays short on most of our drives in the first half. We had that first drive that went down, and we scored, and then everything else, we were just one play away or, one block away, something like that. And then eventually the catalyst was guys like him, the defense making plays, getting stops, getting turnovers. They were balling out all second half. And J6 with that huge pick. You had 2 picks tonight, right? Yeah, so that's the catalyst. That's the catalyst right there. When we get the ball in good field position and our defense is playing like that, we just got to run the ball, find the end zone, and we know that they're going to get the ball right back to us. So.
You guys have faced a lot of adversity this year, a lot of injuries. Just what does it say about this team that you were able to get a win, get bowl eligibility, and just how did it feel to celebrate on the field with your teammates after a comeback win like that?
It's a desire for everybody. One guy went. Kobe got hurt. We had another guy step up. And he take the role, so he got to take it with honor. Backing up Kobe is a big deal. Kobe's one of the best. The best guy on this when he's on the field. And so I feel like for this team, it's just like everybody's desire for one thing, and it's keep winning. Even if we lose, just keep winning. So.
And then Trey, for your side, you stepped up after Blake and having both that injured. So how did it feel for you to accomplish this with your brothers on the field?
Yeah, this whole team has been through adversity. It's just the next guy up mentality. I started as a starter, and then I ended up, being the 3, right? So everyone's been through something like that, and we've been through injuries, like you said, to key guys, and that just I'm just proud of this team because something like that can really drain the entire locker room, can drain a whole building, can drain the coaching staff, but it never did. It never once did. We lost some of our best guys on both sides of the ball, and Coach Cumbie came in the same guy every day, you know, and our players came in the same guy every day, just fighting every single time. And we knew that if a guy went down in a game or guys had gone down, we knew that the guys, you know, that were stepping up were going to make plays just like the ones before them. So this game just, it proves that, like the mentality of the entire team to just keep going. Like Jakari said, keep going. We needed 6. We kept saying take 6. We needed 6 wins. And despite that losing streak, whatever, we fought hard in those games, and we just knew that we had to come this week and we had to prepare our asses off, and we had to play well, and we did. And I'm just proud of this team.
You guys just mentioned Coach Cumbie. I just wanted to let you know from both of you guys, what does Coach Cumbie mean to this team? And just to get this win for him, I know he's been under a lot of stress this season, but to get a win for him, how special is it?
I feel like you saying, what does he mean to us? Oh, he mean a lot. Like, Coach Cumbie is one of the greatest guys, greatest coaches I've ever met in my entire life. Like, you know, he comes in with the same energy every day, morning, night, like, to practice, you know, wherever we go, he just comes with the same energy, and it's just like, he's very contagious. He's a guy that you could just look up to every day, without a doubt. He's always consistent, you know, so, and well, there's one thing, he always have our back, so.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I've been here for a year, and that's the biggest thing is he's the same guy every day. You know, I kind of alluded to it in the last question, but I mean, having such a steady presence, such a like caring individual as your head coach, I mean, the entire building would lose a leg, would lose an arm for that guy. He's an amazing person and a great football coach, and that's who we're fighting for out there. You know, we wanna perform for coaches like him and for the coaches in our coaching staff that bleed and put all the time and effort and hours into this team. And when we lose, that's what hurts, is like we think about them, like all the effort they put in for us not to perform to our best. And so getting wins like this is just, it's for them. They're always in the back of our mind. Coach Cumbie and the rest of the coaching staff, we're fighting for them every single game because of the people that they are day in and day out.
Anything else?
All right, thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
Oh, I need to go get a massage, man.
Great work, fellas. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you guys.
I'll forget your mic. Oh.
Football coach Sonny Cumbie after his team got to 6 wins, reached bowl eligibility after defeating Liberty 34-28 in overtime. Coach, you can just start us off with an opening statement on tonight's game, then we'll do some questions.
You know, I just was really, before the game, we talked this week a lot to our 16 seniors in terms of, you know, what they've done and their experience, and they had an opportunity to share, you know, what Louisiana Tech has meant to them, also what they would share and tell their younger self. And a lot of the messaging from them was, you know, just how special this time has been for them here at Louisiana Tech, how much they've enjoyed the camaraderie and the chemistry of our football team. They've enjoyed the brotherhood that they've really grown into this year, and they've also, you know, as hard as it's been at times, they've learned a lot and they've grown a lot from that. And I think that was on display tonight. And, you know, we have a tough road ahead next week for us. But, you know, I think that we talked this week of creating the experience and in terms of how they wanted to be remembered on their last senior day here. And a group that went 5-1 at home this year and really, you know, have took some tough L's and really was resilient in terms of, I just knew Johnny Chance was going to make that field goal and just missed it barely. And then defensively, I mean, Jakari Foster, a senior, I think it was kind of appropriate if you look at the guys that were making plays out there. A lot of them were our 5th-year, 6th-year seniors, or sometimes the guys, seniors that had just gotten here in Andrew Burnett's case. And so extremely proud of our players, extremely proud of our coaching staff. I think when you think about coaching, what Coach Franklin and our offensive staff did, that's coaching. You take the players that you have and maximize their skill sets and abilities in a high-pressure environment, and they did that tonight. And how about the performance by Trey Kukuk also at quarterback? Just was very efficient throwing the football, made plays with his feet, and I think that's a direct reflection of, you know, Coach Franklin's game plan that we put together, or he put together, and our offensive staff did. And so just incredibly proud of those coaches because they did a great job of adapting to our personnel. And again, our playmakers made plays on offense. Our playmakers made plays on defense in terms of the takeaways with Mike with the interception. You see Sed on the long third down conversion to force them to punt there on the last drive. Then you see Jakari make plays. And so there's a lot of guys across the board. Makai Mason was flashing all over the place. And, you know, how about Kagan Kent getting his opportunity and doing a good job on the extra points. And so just really excited for our players, the coaches, their families, you know, our crowd. I thought for, you know, again, with students not being here, I thought our crowd was really tremendous. I thought that they stayed. I thought that they did a great job of giving our kids energy. And, you know, when you're down 28-7, you know, it was a group of kids on the sideline that continued to fight. They made plays, they scored points, they got takeaways, and they did the things in terms of the accomplishments, in terms of what we want to do on offense, defense, and special teams to win. And so, you know, looking forward to enjoying this one tonight. And then, you know, it starts all over again with a huge challenge next week, starting tomorrow.
You get bowl eligibility for the first time since 2019. You get your first win in overtime as a coach here. I mean, just how sweet was it to get in this kind of fashion?
Yeah, it's really sweet. I mean, it's very sweet. And, you know, I think our guys and everybody collectively just weathered, you know, didn't flinch, you know, and just, I mean, that's the great thing about our team and I think about sports is, like, you know, they valiantly strive, you know, to do things over and over and over again after some of the toughest, most wicked bounces. I mean, how about that bounce on the field goal at the end? And then, you know, we rally them up, we talked to everybody, and they had a belief, and everything was just, hey, we're going to win this game. And they did it, and the players did it. And so to win our first overtime game, you know, here at home, you know, and on senior day in that fashion against a good Liberty team, first time we beat Liberty. I think it's probably the 15th bowl that Louisiana Tech will be going to in the last 50 years. So that's a pretty good accomplishment, and our kids want to continue to play, and we were able to buy ourselves some more time together with this win.
Your offense started off slow, but 27 unanswered points for you guys to pull off this win. What was kind of the key to getting things going offensively?
Yeah, I think the first drive, you know, we went 13 plays and we scored a touchdown there on the first drive, and so I was really, you know, we were excited about that start. You know, then in the first quarter there were some penalties, a false start on a play. We didn't even have a play called. We were trying to just hard count, and the guy runs a vertical. You know, that's one of the most unexplained things in sports is when you have that happen when you don't even have a play called. And so we addressed that in terms of you know, who was out there, and then we had a penalty that set us back again later on. And you know at that moment we weren't in rhythm and in sync enough to be able to overcome, you know, being behind the chains. And so I think that was the key. Is in the third and fourth quarter we stayed ahead of the chains. And again, I mean, some incredible plays on fourth down. Eli Finley, the throw by Trey Kukuk. I mean, even the throw that Trey had to Marlon on the long third down, I believe it was in in the third quarter where he throws it off his back foot and he over a defender and then right into Marlon's hands. I mean, that was a phenomenal throw. And, I think the key to it was staying ahead of the chains. Our offensive line dominated the line of scrimmage, and our playmakers, they made plays.
We just heard from Trey a couple minutes ago. He said that this whole team would lose an arm and a leg for you. I'm curious, like, when you hear a player say that about you, what does that mean to you?
Well, I have a great amount of love and respect for our players, who they are as people, and I think that the guys that we have that sit in this team room every day. I mean, I think that our job as teachers, this is what we are, is to exhibit the things that we talk about, and our team knows who we are. And when I say that, it's like we talk about the actions of our team: loyalty, connection, consistency, and service. And it's on me to be able to do those things and be reliable in the midst of things not going our way, and there's hard bounces, but you have to continue to stay the course. And I just wanted to say that I love how much these kids fight, and they love the game, they love each other, and I think it's evident in terms of how they continue to compete and they show up. And so I appreciate Trey saying that. I feel really the same way about all of them, and that was the experience that we shared tonight, in terms of creating this environment and being able to create this win. And so very appreciative of our football team and our coaches, and I have a high level of love for these guys, because at the end of the day, what we talk about a lot is, you see stories. I mean, you see people's stories, you hear it, and regardless of the outcome, that's what I appreciate about our young men is the excellence that they are striving for, since we've got here, and we've had a lot of advancements. We want to win football games. We still have to win football games. But, I mean, our guys every quarter from a GPA standpoint, record, the last 2 quarters. And a big part of it is them. A big part of it is the plan that we have from an academic standpoint. And so, those are little victories, but those are I got that email, and that's you get as fired up and as emotional about that, because that's a huge win, because they're seeing themselves more than just what they can do out there. And so that's what our whole point is. And yes, we have to win, and we want to continue to do that. But that's why I love these guys, and they're a fun group to be around.
How much does it mean to have the two JUCO products, Trey and Andrew being catalysts of the comeback last night, where their journey this year hasn't always been.
Yeah, I mean, for Trey, what a performance. I mean, just, had weathered the storm at the start of the season. It didn't go as well as he wanted. He had some tough outings, found his rhythm at Western Kentucky. Then he got banged up. And then, for him, this game plan was a great job by Coach Franklin, a great job of Trey of just being really efficient and smart with the football. And we want to make sure that it's not just a moment in time. We want to make sure that we can build off of it. We got a really good defense next week we're going to go against. And but it just really proud for him. And then Andrew Burnett, it was just incredible. And I told Coach Franklin, I mean, the play where we snapped him the ball, and because he can throw the ball fairly decent. I mean, really fair, he can throw it pretty good. And the first time we motioned the back out, they went with a linebacker with Clay. And so we would take a linebacker on Clay when we motioned him out here, and the second time, and they went with a corner. And so that was a little bit, the matchup wasn't as great. You're throwing it to a back on a corner, which isn't as great. But I didn't want our guys to lose their stinger about that. Sometimes a roll of the dice, and if it works, it's great. If it doesn't, then you're like, what the heck's going on? Why'd they call that? And that was, one of those roll of the dice that, we'd practice. And, but anyways, with Andrew and the Wildcat, after the extra, when we were in overtime with the interception by Jakari, I just told Coach Frank, I was like, let's just go win the game. Like, don't call it for a field goal. Let's go win the game. And I think that our offensive line, our tight ends, and then our receivers that we had in the third and fourth quarter, and Andrew and our backs imposed their will on them there.
You personally, I know this has been a stressful season, a lot of injuries, a lot of close losses. I saw you hug your son after the game, you're both in tears, and then you hugging the seniors. I mean, just what does it mean to share this moment and to realize this dream together?
Yeah, they wear it too. I mean, gosh, if you would have watched my son in Delaware on the sideline copy, and I mean, of going up and down, hollering and screaming, there's a lot of young kids that, I mean, they want to win, and they feel it when we don't, and I try to remind them, like, hey, that's Dad's problems. Don't let my problems become your problems. You're a 12-year-old kid. You're a 9-year-old kid. Enjoy being a kid. But they love these players. They love this place, and they love winning, and they love competing, and so it's fun to be a part of that and to share share that moment with your players, your families, and your kids, that's a great moment to be able to share, and it's also an experience and a memory that you want to hang on to. So it's everybody's in this thing. When people are invested, and I use the word invested because we're not giving up our time to pour into these people. We're choosing to do that, and there's a difference. And so we're invested, and they're invested, and so that's where the emotion comes from, because you care.
I think for the last month, Jacob Fields has probably been your defensive MVP.
Yeah.
He had 15 tackles tonight. I mean, just like what has he added to this defense over the last month?
He's done a better job with his practice habits on Tuesday and Wednesday, and then his tackling tonight. Although there were still a few of them where he went in there and he dove, and he ducked his head. But man, he had some of them tonight that were like teach tape tackles. The interception was great. I mean, he's been in position, and I think that's where his preparation is really enhanced over these last 3 to 4 weeks. And I think he's really found a rhythm within the defense. And I think part of it is Jacob is so competitive. Jacob wants to win. He wants to make every single play. And that was earlier in the season, I think, was causing him to try to make too many plays and at times to be out of position. But now he's really settled in. He's done his job, and he understands what we're doing on defense. And he comes downhill. And we had to do some things differently in the defense second half in terms of our calls, because they did a great job of attacking us in a run game. And part of that freed up Jacob to be more of a player, and he did answer the bell there.
Speaking of the defense in the second half, we had 4 interceptions from your secondary. What was kind of the key in changing things schematically to lead to your defense to be able to get the ball out of their hands at some time?
Yeah, I think that there's two things. The flow of the game, we started putting pressure back on them. They didn't have as much pressure put on them. They were comfortably in the lead at 28-7, and then we make it 14, and then we get, I believe we got a takeaway, and we made it 28-21. So now all of a sudden the pressure starts to build for their quarterback and on their side of the ball on offense, and then our defense starts to gain momentum. And so I think that was one of the things that forced Vasco into throwing the ball probably more than maybe they wanted to. And then I think some of the things that we were doing from a front and a blitz standpoint, we put pressure on him and we got on him, and then those guys made great plays. They trusted their preparation in terms of knowing where that to be in what routes that they were trying to run. I mean, even in overtime, that's a great job of Jakari, because they were trying to drag the number 1 receiver on a post, and they had the back running a wheel and a tight end on a slow drag, and Jakari does a great job of not taking his eyes off of what he was supposed to do and run, and made a phenomenal interception. So I think part of that was the pressure was back on them. Defensively, we were able to create a little more pressure with some of the line games and backers with our pass rush. And then those guys in the secondary, they're really good in coverage. They trust their preparation, and I think that allows them to go out there and make those plays.
All right, Coach, thanks for talking.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Thanks. Thanks, Stephen.